Hey everyone, so today we're going to be covering interpersonal communication, which goes over 8 and 9, both chapters, okay? There was one question on the quiz that I realized that we haven't covered because we're going to be covering it today, so I apologize for that, but it's still okay. 90% of you got it right, so for the ones who didn't get it right, I apologize for that, but realize that everyone else got it right, so they use the resources like you should for an online class. Again, I apologize for that, but most of you got it right, so good job if you got it right. Like I said, we're going to be going over interpersonal communication. Now, with interpersonal communication, it is with two different people, okay? One and one. When we talked at the very beginning, the different levels of communication, and interpersonal was the second. Remember, you had intra, which is self, and then inter, which is between one and one. That's what we're covering today. So this is normally face-to-face, but as we'll cover later, with technology, we're able to do it a little bit differently and have a little bit more interpersonal relationships worldwide. But again, most of the time, this looks at face-to-face, and a lot of the theories that this is based off of are face-to-face. But with the development of technology, more theories are coming out about that. But we're not going to be covering the new theories, just the basic level theories. Okay, relationship. Interpersonal, as we talked about at the very beginning of the class, interpersonal is the best way to develop relationships and build relationships. So let's ask, what is the term relationship mean? Now with this, it means a lot the same as the communication process. Remember, the communication process is saying exchanging ideas, thoughts, words, different things like that to exchange meaning. Now the difference between this is you're communicating or exchanging thoughts, ideas, words to find connections. So the communication process shows exchanging words, thoughts, ideas to exchange meaning, but this is to try to connect with people, okay? So remember, a relationship, the key is to connect with people. Now, there are 4 different types of attractions that we're going to be covering, okay? You can have all 4 with the exact same person. You might only have one with the same person because you terminated the relationship by then. But you will have all 4 at most relationships, if not just a few, depending on how long the relationship goes. There are 4 sets, and then there are 4 different ones, and there are 2 different sets. So the first set is short-term initial attraction. Okay, so short-term is when you first see a person, hear about a person for the first couple minutes that you meet them. So really, this is first impressions. When you see them, you learn a little bit about them. You ask them where you're from, what do you do, what are you majoring in, blah, blah, blah. Basic exchange of that information, right? So this is short-term initial attraction, what you first see about the person. Now remember, relationships do not just have to be a romantic relationship. You have a relationship with your parents. You have a relationship with someone that you might be romantic with. You have a relationship with your friends. We have a relationship even though we've actually never physically met. But that all can go into attractions. So attraction is just not the way you look and be like, wow, I like that person. Woo woo, okay? So that's not just it. We will cover that part. But this is also from when you see someone, okay? The second part within this section is long-term maintenance attraction. When you see someone, you meet them, and you hang out with them a couple times, and then you get to know them a little bit more, that goes into long-term maintenance attraction. Now this could be anywhere from like 6 days, 6 months, 6 years, 60 years, different things like that, right? So from the short term, when that ends to long term, okay? With this, you have to maintain the relationship. You're going to have fights, disagreements, arguments for really long ones, right? Sometimes you might just talk and you're trying to maintain it and you have a group project. So how are you maintaining the group? I have to meet with this person. So the relationship I have with this person has to continue. So I'm going to keep texting, keep saying, hey, do you have this PowerPoint done? Hey, can I get this information? Hey, I finished this. Okay? So that's long term. So remember, short term is just basically first impressions, and long term goes in if you're meeting them again after that, after that, after that. It can be from very short to 100 years. Then the second set of ones starts with physical. This is when you see someone and you like their physical attributes. Now this isn't saying you like their jawline, the way that they look, their hair flow, different things like this. A heterosexual man can be physically attracted to another heterosexual man because you might see them play football, you might see them hang out with someone, you might see them talk to their mom a certain way, and you're physically attracted because you see them and you're like, wow, I like the way that they do something and their physical attributes. So you are now physically attracted to that person. Again, this is not in any romantic way, but you're physically attracted to someone, and that's how you first meet them, or that's the way you pull together, or the way you keep the friendship, is that physical attraction, okay? And then we do go into the sexual attraction. This is when you actually look at someone, you're like, I like the way they look, okay? And you have that relationship. When you see a pretty person walk across the street, you're like, whoop, whoop, okay? That goes with a sexual attraction, even if it's a short term. You first see someone, you're like, wow, I like the way they look, and then you meet them, and you don't like the physical attractions that they have, so you terminate the relationship, and it never goes into long term, okay? So again, they all flow in together, and most long-term relationships have all four. Some of them are only short-term relationships and don't even have all four. Might only have short-term, because you're not really attracted to the person in any way other than that short-term initial attraction. Moving on. Proximity. We talked about this a little bit last week with nonverbal. Remember when we talked about how you can hang things up on the wall, and that's nonverbal communication. The way that you put the room around, that's nonverbal communication. But that's proximity. Proximity can go into nonverbal communication, but it goes into a lot of different forms of communication, such as interpersonal communication. So what it is, it's the people, place, the space around you. Normally, we said it was face-to-face, but with technology, FaceTime, social media, Snapchat, Instagram, different things like that, we're able to have a closer proximity to people who are around the world. If you're here in America, you can FaceTime someone who is at the Olympics right now, right? So that makes the proximity closer, and we're able to build those relationships more and more and more because of the proximity. And we can make that interpersonal relationship a face-to-face by using a cell phone or social media. We can get to know a little bit about that person, okay? Now, when you're in a group or with a person for a relationship, you want to make sure that you're complementary to someone. Meaning, if you are amazing at this, that other person should not be an exact identical of you. They should kind of, have their own amazing stuff. When they say opposites attract, this is what this is saying. You need to have someone that rounds out your own abilities, okay? You need to have someone that looks the same attitudes as you. You also need to make sure that you include people of that. Do not just find people of your own strengths. Include many different relationships within you that has opposite of you. If you're not great at something, find a relationship that you can keep building for a long-term initial attraction or long-term maintenance attraction that you can keep building to make that relationship better, because they include you and they basically round you out, and you're including all these different people. It's like a collection of all these people that have different abilities than you. You need to also make sure that you're not being controlled by someone else, or you're not controlling someone else. Control is one of the biggest reasons that relationships get terminated, and also one of the biggest reasons that the cops get notified, right? Okay? But you need to make sure that each of you are in agreement when it comes to making decisions, having responsibilities, having ideas, that when you're moving forward, you're both agreeing to that. It's not just one person saying, I want to do this, and move forward. Now, yes, sometimes you do need to put your foot down and say, we are doing this, I am making the executive decision to move forward. But you can't do that with every single decision. If not, then it's a one-sided relationship. And finally, affection. You need to make sure that all of your relationships know that they're important. You need to say like, hey, I know that you're very important, and I thank you for everything that you do, okay? So make sure that you do that. And other people need to be telling you that you're important as well. Because if we don't know that we're important, then why in the world are we in that relationship, right? So if you're in a romantic relationship and you constantly tell each other, hey, I love you, that's how you know that the other person is important, that you're showing the affection. Or if you're saying like, you're such a good friend, then it's like, wow, I am a good friend. This relationship has some meaning. Or thank you for your help, you're a great classmate, something like that. Yes, that relationship served its purpose, and they knew that they were appreciated. Finally, social penetration theory. This is the onion theory. So if you pick the picture of the onion, then you are correct. With social penetration theory, realize that there are thousands of different levels. We're only going to cover 4 of them, okay? So each relationship can be at a different level, but we're only going to cover the 4 broad ones. So first is random topic. This is when you first meet someone. Hi, what's your name? Where are you from? What's your major? Okay? And then you move on a little bit closer to the superficial level. A lot of times this is something like your classmates. You know a little bit about them. You know a little bit about their interests and different things like that. With the superficial level, have you ever had that one friend, this is you, and then this is your friend, and then your friend brings that other person, right? Okay? Well, when they bring that other person, you don't really know them that well. You might be at the random topics, but a lot of times you're at the superficial level. You know where they're from, you know their name, you know some of their interests, but when that friend goes to the bathroom, what happens? It's really, really awkward because you haven't built up a more of a level. Just like with your classmates. You know a little bit about them, that's pretty much it. Some of you might know more about your classmates and you might have gotten deeper into the onion, right? As Shrek would say. Ogres have layers. Every person has layers to their relationship. Next is the intimate level. This is where a lot of your friends are. Your really close friends, your best friends, different things like that. You know a lot about that person. You know what makes them tick. You know what makes them happy. You know what makes them cry. Different things like that. You know them pretty well. And then the next level is the very intimate level. This is where a lot of parents could be. Parents could also be at the intimate level as you get older. But when you're in high school and different things like that, very intimate levels where a lot of you are with your parents. They know you inside and out. And you think you know them inside and out, but you realize you don't. But this is where a lot of significant others fall in. Your really, really good friends, like your best friends, could easily fall into this. This is the people you're like, hey, you want to go hang out? We should go. Yeah, that sounds good. Oh, and then we could, yeah, I like that idea. And then we could, yeah, sounds like a plan. You don't even finish your sentences, right? Or as Frozen would tell us, you finish each other's sandwiches, okay? But that's what social penetration theory is, okay? And then also remember the Johari's window. We already covered it, so I'm not going to take time to cover it again. But realize that this goes with interpersonal relationships as well as yourself, okay? Now, with this, just like every week, you're going to have a discussion post and a participation post. So for your discussion, I'm going to post this up there. You're going to need to take this test. It's about yourself. It asks you questions such as, I just like participating in groups. Make sure you are numbering correctly. And then there will be an answer sheet, how you know to give the answers. You're going to then post on the discussion. You're going to say, my group discussion was at this number. My meeting discussion was at this level. My interpersonal conversation was at this level, and my public speaking was at this level. So you're going to have 4 numbers that you're going to let us know about, okay? And then technically 5 because you're going to tell us about your overall communication thing. This will tell you a little bit about, are you comfortable in groups? Are you comfortable in bigger meetings? Are you comfortable with public speaking? And they'll go into that. And then you will see that how diverse everyone is and that there are always right answers. And tell us about why you think you scored the right way. Make sure you pay attention. The scoring is complicated when you first read it, but it's pretty basic. So basically you're going to have, for a group discussion, you're going to have 18 points, and then you're going to go 18 plus the answer from 2, answer from 4, answer from 6, minus the answer from 1, the answer from 3, the answer from 5. Okay? So it's very basic, and that's your answer for a group discussion. If you have any questions on that, email me, let me know. It's very simple, but make sure you read and follow the instructions. Then finally, there are 2 different things for your participation. First, you're going to interview a person. You're going to interview them, and remember how we talked about open-ended versus closed-ended questions? Okay? You're going to interview them, and you're going to write an article. It only needs to be 250 to 500 words. That's very short. It's like 1 page. You're going to write an article about the person. Just like you were on the Today Show, Good Morning America, or you work for New York Times, or Us Magazine. You're going to say, this person really likes this, they do this, we're really good friends this way. Tell me about that person. Ask them questions. You're going to try to get to know someone deeper. You can pick a random person that you've never met before, or you can pick someone that you're really close to. But you have to ask them questions. I want to see the questions that you ask them. So you're going to have to type up about 10 to 20 questions, open-ended, that you ask them. And then you're going to go and write the article about them. Let me know who they are. Tell me about that. 250 to 500 words. That's about a page to 2 pages. Finally, you're then going to write a letter to that person, and you're going to let them know how appreciative of them you are. So if it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, you can say like, you're very important in my life. Same with your parents or different things like that. You're going to write a 250 to 500 word letter to them, okay? And with that letter, you're just going to tell them about different things. And you're going to upload it for your participation grade. Now, I want to challenge you to actually give that letter to them. Don't tell them it's for a class. Just interview them, and then later just give them a letter to be like, hey, I'm really appreciative of you. Now, this isn't a thank you note. Thank you for letting me interview you. It's thank you for being a part of my life and having a relationship. Hopefully this shows you that you can build relationships and do different things like that, and how you can thank them in another way. If you have any questions, you can always email me. Again, this is all due on Sunday, just like always. You have a great day.